Another edition of Diving into Delhi, Colby Smith, and tonight I'm pleased to be joined by SUNY Delhi women's soccer coach, Zachary Ward. Coach, thanks so much for taking the time to join me here tonight.
I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you, Colby. Thank you.
Well, so I want to dive into your coaching background a little bit before you came to Delhi. So after you finished your time at McDaniel College, you spent 4 years as AD and coach of both of the varsity soccer teams at Calvary Christian Academy. You were very successful there. What was it like coaching at the high school level? And after the fact there, what was it like making the jump up to the college ranks?
That's a great place to start, I guess. So I went to school wanting to do sport marketing. I started to volunteer coach in the summers, in between semesters, and really, turn my focus into coaching and wanting to be a soccer coach. After my time at McDaniel, I finished up an internship with Beach FC in Virginia Beach, which is one of the, premier soccer, youth soccer programs on the East Coast. And this position came open back home in Cumberland, Maryland. I had never wanted necessarily to be a physical education teacher, but having the opportunity to be the athletic director and coaching both boys and girls soccer just really made that, position more attractive. It was a great first opportunity for me as, taking over a program at 23 years old. They coming off of, being one of the more successful programs in that area, boys and girls, then being entrusted to take over, that with not having any, affiliation directly. I didn't play at the school or anything like that. So, I was very successful there. I was able to win 2 conference championships for the boys. I had 2 runner-up finishes with the girls. It got to the point where, not that it wasn't challenging, but I was very comfortable in that role. So having made the decision, I wanted to cut my teeth at the college level. I was able to, apply, go through all those processes. And, my first college coaching gig took me 14 hours away from home to Maine, to a place I've never been before. I essentially took the job sight unseen. And I, spent 3 years there, and I absolutely loved my time in Maine.
Well, I want to jump on something you said there. In terms of getting comfortable, what's that like? I mean, as a coach, just kind of finding your niche in a role and then having to shift, knowing that you've kind of done your time there and just moving on to bigger and better things.
Like, I think in any position or any career, you always want to challenge yourself. So, I knew I could go about, doing the same thing every single day and have the same type of success, but wanting to push myself as a coach and become a better coach. I'm always telling my players, get comfortable being uncomfortable. So taking myself out of a position where I spent 4 years knowing all the parents, knowing all the players, having an understanding of where they're at, and then moving my career and, at the college level is just something that I felt to keep furthering myself as a coach. That was the right time to make it in that spring and summer of 2017.
In terms of making that jump up to the college level, coaching at Maine Maritime and everything, what at first did you see were some of the big differences between the tactical side and just getting players organized between high school and college soccer?
Well, the fitness and the pace of the game is so much different from the high school and club level to the college level. It doesn't matter if you're coming from, high level club into the college ranks. The fitness of the players and the pace of the game is so different. And that was something as a coach, being tactically making changes, even as an assistant, just being able to recognize, what another program is doing. It's very different at the high school level, where the soccer or the football is not always the prettiest being played. So it definitely was challenging as a coach to kind of what is the other team trying to do to break us down?
Now, before coming to Delhi, you had that year last year. You were an assistant down at Potomac State in West Virginia. But Maine Maritime, you knew what it was like to coach in the NAC West. So coming to Delhi, what was it like just having that feel for the conference that you were going to be coaching in?
Yeah, I love the NAC. I have very fond memories of the last 3 years in the NAC, and being able to get back into it as the head coach with SUNY Delhi women's soccer. That was one of the selling points to the program here in New York. It's the NAC is very competitive. It's wide open every single year. Looking back, if you look at the history, I'm not sure if there's when the last time there was a back-to-back NAC champion. So understanding, and in 2019 when I was on Maine Maritime staff, we ran into Delhi twice, and that was the program that we were the most worried about. In the regular season, they were the ones that gave us the most trouble, took us to overtime. We had to come back twice and to send it to overtime. So Delhi was very competitive, and looking at the roster makeup from there to in 2019 to 2021, a lot of those dangerous players were still around. Being able to come in and work with, I personally feel some of the top players in the entire country, or maybe but most likely in the entire conference versus the country. We have some very, very good players here, and that was definitely a drawing point.
To start off this season, some of these players only got to play a couple of games last year. Some of these players didn't get to play at all last year. So how was it kind of building back and just getting everybody all set and ready for game action, knowing you had this tough season ahead?
It's something that we incorporated in preseason, and it's gone through every single training session throughout the year, is we do some type of fitness every single day. Be it a 5-minute intense run or something, a longer duration, even if it's just a 12-minute continuous jog. We do, it's getting that fitness level. Like you said, some of these players haven't played for almost, 18 competitive months. So getting them back into the swing of things was, really important for us. And as it gets closer to the end of the season, we actually had training today. We were just talking about the last couple games. They felt at the end of the game they were a lot fitter than the teams we were playing against, and that allowed them to see out the 90 minutes where the other team we were playing may have been struggling there that last 10, 15 minutes of the match.
And that's a good segue to take us right into. I wanted to get into the last few games of the regular season a little bit. That loss that you guys had to Maine Maritime, of course, coaching against your former team. What experience was that like for you?
That was very interesting. I was very curious what the reception would be like coming back to Castine, and we had a job to do. So it was very, passing some, former co-workers and some former players. It was very professional. As I didn't want to act like I didn't know them. I didn't want to be rude. But we had a job to do. It was tough. Our travel day on Friday didn't necessarily go how we would have liked it to have gone. But we still have to play 90 minutes. We still have to kick a ball around and do what we need to do. After the game, it was nice catching up to players that I spent 3 years with. Some 2, some 1. A lot of the incoming players that are first years. A lot of them I had recruited for 2 seasons to get there. So it was nice to being back. It was obviously we wanted to come away with 3 points, but I expect to see them, in the next 2 weeks in the final, be it most likely us traveling back to Maine Maritime if they're the opponent that we have to face. But I think it'll be different the second time around.
And after the fact of that loss up at Maine Maritime, you guys managed to string together a 4-game winning streak to close out the regular season, capped by that 2-1 win against SUNY Canton on Saturday. In terms of just getting ready, knowing you got SUNY Poly, a team you've already faced coming up this weekend in the quarterfinals on Saturday, what's kind of been the prep that you've put in this week? What's the message around the team right now?
It's just maintaining our fitness, making sure we're all where we need to be mentally, physically. There's not a whole lot of more fine tuning. We're not necessarily reinventing anything or adding anything into training sessions. You know, we did a little bit of film work today. The weather wasn't super great. You know, we're off tomorrow, and then it's just maintaining, you know, Thursday, Friday into the weekend. I think the last 4 matches, like you mentioned, have gone our way. We were doing what we needed to do. I've said it, you know, a lot of times to the women. It's in the program. It's good teams find a way to win. You know, Thomas really was one that we had to grind, and we got one there at the end. You know, Canton pushed us to the end as well. They picked up that penalty with a minute left, and it was, you know, last 67 seconds they were in our face trying to grab that game tying goal. So, you know, like I mentioned a little bit ago, the NAC is very competitive across the board. You know, we're only guaranteed Saturday, as much as the expectations are us to play for the divisional on Sunday afternoon and then for the conference in November. You know, we're only guaranteed Saturday, and it's making sure those players know, you know, the expectations, you know, moving forward.
Coach, thank you so much for your time. Good luck this weekend.
I appreciate it, Colby. Thank you.